Hello, everyone, and welcome to the DMV Football Gauntlet. My name is Matthew Heiserman, and today we are joined by three-star high school football recruit and Tennessee football commit, Edward Baker. Edward, it's great to have you on.
Thank you. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm great. Excited to be on.
Yeah, I love that. And uh, right when we get started, can you kind of just give the rundown of your football journey? How you first got into it, what that looked like when you started playing, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Originally I used to watch my older brother play.
Mhm.
He played defensive line and linebacker. At Dunbar High School down here in Baltimore. So I used to watch him play a lot, and
Mhm.
throughout his time, he was pretty big. Down here in Maryland on the football side. So I used to go on YouTube, watch his highlights and stuff every game. Watch him play, and then when I started playing. I used to watch him, like before all my games and stuff like that. So he kind of like, sparked the plug in me, like on the football side of it, and I just been playing ever since.
So what age did you start playing then?
Um, so I played a little bit like around when I was 5, and then I stopped until like 11, 11, 12. So I played like on and off throughout the years. So
Yeah. Now, when you were getting into it, was it flag? Did you go straight to tackle? I don't know if you've done any 7-on-7. What did that kind of look like for you?
yeah. It was both. So Um, first first time I ever
Mhm.
played it was tackle, and then throughout my years, on and off, I was playing flag, and then I played tackle. So I played both. Yep, I
Mhm.
played a little bit of both. So
And are there any other positions you've ever played other than offensive line?
yeah. So now when I was younger, I used to want to be a quarterback. So I played quarterback before, but
Mhm.
I kept dropping the snap, so I stuck on O line. But yeah, quarterback,
Mhm.
running back, um, O line, D line. That's it.
Now you
So.
mentioned defensive line. I guess when you played defensive line, how has that helped you as an offensive line, kind of just understanding the mind of a defensive line when you're going up against one?
Yeah, so first I used to always want to be like a defensive lineman. Like, I used to look up the guys like Aaron Donald, Reggie White. So
Mhm. Yeah.
I used to sit and study like all their moves and things like that for a long period of time. So, now that I play online, I know the tendencies, and I know when a guy is about to rush a certain way or when he's planning on like doing certain things just based off of my knowledge and what I used to learn, throughout my times trying to play D line, things like that. So.
Mhm. And what as one of the top-rated offensive line in the class of 2026, what are some things you really take pride in when it comes to your play style?
Just living up to the standard. Like, by me being a highly recruited offensive lineman, by me being, a part of Tennessee's 2026 class, it's a lot of things I gotta live up to, it's a lot of standards I gotta live up to. So just, being who I say I am, dominating 24/7, being a
Mhm.
key piece for the offensive line and
Mhm.
for the team as a whole, it's just little things that I look into when I'm playing, the
Mhm.
sport. So
Yeah, I love to hear that. Now, on your Twitter description, there's something that stood out to me. You didn't just write offensive line, you wrote versatile offensive
Yup.
line. Um, why is versatility so important in offensive line? How does that kinda help you boost your skill set?
Yeah, so I feel like having a guy that can play all five is pretty big because like God forbid a guy next to you goes down, you always know like you got that other lineman that can come in and play because most guys can't really play all five. So, when a coach know he got a guy that can play right, left, center, guard, he knows
Mhm.
like we got a good chance of being more dominant than other O lines because
Mhm.
most schools have guys that only can play one side or only can play one position. So me being able to do all that kind of actually helped me get recruited more. Also, most people don't know that, but like school that recruited me, they seen that I can play guard and tackle. So
Mhm. Yeah.
that's where like sparked their recruitment plug for me and helped me
Mhm.
get on these boards with these other big time programs that I had. So
Mhm. And then, getting into the recruitment process, which you kind of just touched on January 25th, 2023, you
yep.
received your first ever offer from Boston College. I know everyone says the first offer is the hardest to get, and I know that offer was obviously really early in your high school career. Were you really expecting to see an offer that soon, and what was going through your mind when you got that one?
Yeah, so throughout my first year of football, like I was surrounded by a lot of talent, so I was seeing guys get offers every day. So I was like, okay, when am I getting my chance? So when I did get it, I was blessed. Like when I got it, coach put me off. He was like, yeah, man, Boston College offered you. I was crying. I ain't gonna lie, I was crying. I think it's actually a video. One of my old
Mhm,
teammates got the video. I was in the cafeteria walking around, just calling everybody, calling my family, just let them know
mhm,
like I got an offer from Boston College because it was like a blessing. It was something like
mhm,
that I didn't really see myself getting, like definitely not at that point in time because I felt like I wasn't as developed, as I think I should have been to get it. So when I got it, it was definitely a blessing and something that I couldn't wait to get.
mhm. And I think the next offer you received after that was like multiple months later, so there was a little gap in between. Were you kind of expecting your recruitment to pick up as much as it ended up doing after that?
Yeah, so actually I ended up so when I got Boston College, Coach Poggi, he was the head coach at UNC around that time, he offered me that same day, he came out of school and offered me and a couple other guys. So I thought when I got him, because at that time everybody didn't have D1 offers in 2026 class. It was rare.
Mhm,
So I'm thinking like, okay, my career about to blow up. I'm thinking I'm about to get everything in the world at that time. And then, I
mhm,
didn't get another offer until sophomore season, around March Day game. So I,
mhm,
I I did think it was gonna blow up, like right there. It did, but now like it's even better than what I thought it was gonna be. I didn't expect for me to get Tennessee, Alabama. I didn't expect to get all those big time schools. So it blew up way more than I thought it would have got. So and it came at the
mhm,
right time to be honest.
mhm.
So
Yeah, and you talked about earlier how you obviously committed to Tennessee.
yep.
Um, what really stood out to you about Tennessee? When did you know they were the best option for you going forward?
Yeah, so everything to be honest, so like throughout my process, Tennessee was the first big time program to start recruiting me. They just
Mhm,
recruited me my sophomore year, going into junior year, you know, and I always wanted to go to a big time program like the Tennessees, the Bama, the
yeah,
Georgias, the Texas, all those type of good programs. So when they were recruiting me, I was like, okay, man, I get this offer. Like, you know, I'm definitely gonna consider going here. And you know, later on down the line, I went to the Bama game. They beat Bama. I met with the coaches. I got the offer, and from that point on, the relationship just been like it been growing, and it's better than what I got now with most other schools. Like to be honest, I think Tennessee relationship I got with other schools is definitely way stronger. Like I was talking to them every day. Coach Ellaby was texting me. Coach Labs, Coach KP, like all the coaches, they were on me. Like they didn't offer me and then walk away. They offered me and kept recruiting me. So I think that was started the most. And then when I went on my unofficial up there in spring, I think that's what really solidified everything for me. But I also wanted to check out other programs before I committed.
mhm.
So
Now you received, a lot of big offers, right?
yeah,
I mean, schools like Alabama, Ole Miss, Texas A&M,
yeah,
and, you mentioned how good the coaching staff was,
yeah.
and you went on multiple unofficial visits, and then you went on an official visit on June 6th, um, which was 3 weeks before committing.
Yup.
Would you say that the coaching staff was the main reason that really put this school over the top over other or some of those other really big schools that I mentioned?
I'll say the staff in general, to be honest, like outside
Mhm,
the coaching staff, they got a pretty good staff. Like, and what I mean by that, I mean like the guys behind the scenes that we don't see on
mhm,
social media. So like the recruiting people, the
yeah,
people that help in the recruitment department, like those are the people that I can say like really made the big impact. Like the people that we don't see behind the scenes, and also the players. Like I got a teammate that go there now, Idris Farouk. So I was able to get real intel about Coach Heupel and the staff as a whole, and I also had other players that I was familiar with, Lance, David Sanders, and then at the time Nico was there, so I was able to get real like
mhm,
information about Tennessee as a whole.
yeah,
So I think that you know it kind of really helped it
mhm.
solidify for me.
Now you attend St. Francis Academy in Baltimore, Maryland, which
Yup,
is a powerhouse of a high school football team.
yup,
Definitely the best, I would say the best team in all of Maryland.
yup,
You know, they have a great offensive line, right? You're playing alongside guys like Lamarcus Dillard, who's going to West Virginia, John
yup.
Watkins, who's going to Temple. What does it mean to you kind of just to be able to be a part of this offensive line, be with such great guys?
Yeah, yeah. So we call ourselves the Big Three. We came in together around the same. Well, I was here before them too, but we all went through the same struggles. Like sophomore year, all three of
Mhm.
us were starting the O line. We was the only we was 15-year olds O linemen playing on national
Mhm.
powerhouse in front of
Yep.
30,000 people every game,
Mhm.
and we had to live up to a standard that that we didn't understand at a point in time. So playing with this group is like it's amazing because we've seen the up and downs. We've been through the trials and tribulation together. Uh, I know where they started from. I know where they know where I started from. So just seeing like where we at now, it's amazing. Like I feel like we're gonna be the best line in the nation. To be honest, I think we're going to put on like last year. They kind of seen what we were able to do, and now this is our line. Like I don't call it mine. They don't call it theirs. I call it Big Three. We are the three leaders of the offensive line. So it's amazing to play those guys. Like I feel like it's going to be something special for us this year. Like we know the standard, and we know what we got to do. The to reach that goal of national championship this year for SFA. So I think it's going to be great, and I love it. I wouldn't want to play nobody else besides those two. So
Yeah, I love to hear that. And, this is obviously a really heavy recruiting time of the year. We see a lot of juniors start to commit to schools like you did on, I think it was June 27th.
yep,
And then recently, the class of 2027, coaches were able to start reaching out to them personally. So I'm sure they're
yep.
getting a lot of offers. What's the general vibe like around the team, just as everybody's being recruited? One of the best teams, you see everybody kind of, you know, just the hard work's paying off for everyone, right? Like,
Yeah,
what's that like to be around?
yeah. So it's great because everybody around there, most of us got big time offers, and if not, and the
Mhm,
guys that don't got them, they buy into what like the work that you got to put in to get those offers. So
mhm,
the vibe is hard working. We know the mission, and we know like we know that it's still more work that has to be done. We don't get comfortable with stuff we got. You know, and to be honest, we actually competing to see who can get the most offers. Like that's what we was doing back in spring. We were trying to see who would get the most offers. Um, and we had a challenge. There was the first to 20, whoever get the first to 20 something. But it's like it's a competitive vibe, and it's a family vibe, and we all want to see each other win. Like we sit there, we text each other programs like that we got offers from, and we try to get everybody an offer. Like Blake Woodby,
mhm,
Auburn, he was able to get most of us at SFA the Auburn offer. So we try to share the stuff that we got. Like we don't what they call it, we don't hold our opportunities.
mhm,
We share them out. We make sure we put guys on certain schools. So it's
mhm,
definitely a family vibe, and we try to make sure everybody win. Sure.
mhm. Now who won that, 2020 offer
Oh, it
challenge?
was it was me. I got to it. I got to it first. It was me. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome, and, a specific game from last season, St.
Yeah.
Francis versus IMG Academy. I'm sure that was one of the best
Yeah.
games of the year for y'all. 30
Yeah.
to 3 victory. IMG Academy is known to be obviously a powerhouse high school team, one of the best in the nation. What was it like beating them at home? They went to you just not even beating them, but dominating them. What was that feeling like?
It was great. So to be honest, like going to that game, it was a lot of speculations about us not being the program we claim to be. So,
Mhm,
and a lot of people was like counting us out. And they were saying Sparta's better than us, things like that. And early on we lost 3 games, so we knew
mhm,
like we got to come out here and make a statement. That's the only way we can continue to talk how we talk. And we come out here and beat IMG. IMG almost lost to East St. Louis, so we knew like them struggling with that game. We knew we was gonna come on there and beat them. And me being here for the last 3 to 4 years, I've seen the wins and losses we had before. Like I was here freshman year when we went 9-1 and IMG beat us. So this game meant a lot for us, and we beat them. It was a blessing. Like everything, like the stress over the last few years just paid off, and then all the alumni from previous years was calling us, texting us on IG, congratulating us. So it was something like that was like special for us,
Mhm.
something special. It meant a lot.
Yeah.
Sure.
And the DMV is one of the most competitive football regions in the entire nation.
Sure.
Um, and to be the best, you got to beat the best, right? So, like, what does that kind of mean? Just being able to go out there, what are you able to learn from the people you go against? How does that tougher competition help you improve your game as well?
Oh yeah, no, it's something like I say, like play on this program, you gotta have it because every week we're playing against the big house powerhouses like Marta Day and the IMG and things like that. So they have their best, top ranked guys. So and going against guys over the previous years like Womack and Sam Green, you know, going against Zion Ely every day, like things like that prepares you
Oh
for
yeah.
these big time games. Because if you can't compete against those guys in practice every day, then you can't really see yourself going out there against, the IMGs, the modern days trying to compete. So I get my practice in for games during practice. Like I tell them like every day, like if y'all can beat me, like beat me, like I want y'all to actually like expose me so I can see what I got to work on before this game starts. Because I don't want to go out there in a game and then I'm on TV getting exposed. I'd rather get exposed in practice where nobody else see it besides us, and then go out there in the game and I'm
Mhm.
doing my thing, and then you won't even know at practice I was getting beat because I'm out there doing
Mhm.
everything that I learned from practice on the field. So it's definitely something like that you got to have for sure,
Mhm.
and it puts you ahead. It puts you ahead of competition, and also it kind of help you get that recognition at college because colleges know like, he been battle tested for the last 3 to 4 years. He know how it is playing against those guys that are really good. So I know he could come here and it may take him a year or so to get used to the speed of the game, but he'll definitely be ready. So
Mhm. Now, you mentioned some of the players you got to go against in the DMV.
so
Who'd you say is the toughest guy you've had to face in the general area?
general, I probably say Womack for sure. He at Ole Miss right now. He was at LSU freshman year, but definitely him. I was on a scout team going against him freshman year. So he was out there and he was out there ball rushing me, beating me back to back. But I didn't back down from it because I knew like okay, I'm pretty sure the coach know I'm going to lose, but I'm pretty sure they want to
Mhm.
see if I'm going to fight or not. So I'll say definitely him for sure though, and probably Zion Ely next up. He's pretty good. So both of those
Nice.
guys.
And, now that you're in the off season, your recruitment is wrapped up, what does a typical day look like for you in terms of practicing and training?
Yeah, yeah. But right now we're on spring break, so I get up around 8, 9 o'clock. I put my little recovery boots on. I do it for about like an hour, and as I'm doing that, I may play the game for a little bit till they turn off, and then uh, I get up. I hit the workouts. I go downstairs. I get my water first before I leave. Get my jug of water,
Mhm.
a fruit or something. Go work out. Go to PT. Come back home, eat a little light meal, and then at night
Yep.
I do a mile run, and then after that I come back in, get some protein, a little bit of vegetables or something, eat that, and then I play the game for about an hour and a half, and then I just do it all over again. And then on Sundays I go to a recovery center. Um, it's called Restore Wellness down by Canton, and I just get the sauna, cryotherapy, things like that. So, but when I'm not on break, we got workouts 12 to 6, and that's the way I'm at from now from there, from those days, and I do the same thing. Come home, shower, recovery boots, play the game, and that's it.
And then you
So
mentioned how, you're playing in front of a lot of people. You said 30,000 people?
yeah, yeah, yep.
Mhm.
So
So, I'm sure there's at least a little bit of pressure going into those games. I'm sure it's gotten less and less throughout your high school career maybe,
yeah,
but are there any, superstitions or rituals, maybe some music you like to listen to get yourself in the right mindset ahead of games?
yeah, yeah. So well, to be honest, I try to go out there and I try to think positive. To be honest, uh, every game, no matter we playing a good team or a trash team, I'm always thinking to make sure I don't fall into the trap of not performing 100%. So I do listen to music, but most times I'm praying, before the game start. I'm praying on the way to the game. I listen like to Lord Bible scriptures in my headphones, stuff like that. You know, and I just believe in like my faith and my work to, you know, make sure that I perform as I should perform, and I also make sure my practices that I did throughout the week perform the way I perform. So that's just my way of dealing with the pressure and things like that when it's time to play these big time games.
Mhm. And you talked about how you like to watch some, or when you were younger, you at least watched a lot of like defensive line highlights, saw what they were doing. Are there any offensive line in the NFL you try and model your game after or take inspiration from?
Yeah, yeah. So right now I watch a lot of college football and I watch NFL. So,
Mhm.
I watch guys like Trent Williams,
Yep.
you know, Calvin Banks, Will Campbell, Emory Jones, Jordan Seaton, um, it's a couple other guys that I watch, Panay Sewell. So I watch a lot of guys, and I also, but I watch the guys like the night before the game, because like I said, like on game day, I want to make sure I'm locked in, I'm focused, and I'm praying and like throughout the
Mhm.
day until the game comes. So, but yeah, I watch a lot of those guys, like, and then like whoever's popping, during college, I watch those. So, yeah, I watch a lot of college and NFL guys for sure.
Now, when you're watching a college or NFL game live, are you typically just focused on the offensive line, what they're doing out there?
Yeah, I watch a little bit of both. So I do both. I watch the O line for sure, and then once the ball going, then I watch whoever catch the ball. But it more so depends on what game is playing because having so many teammates throughout the past years, most of my teammates are even on the team that I'm watching. So if they on the O line, I'm watching them play. If not, if they on the D line, watching them play. So wherever they are, I watch them play. But yeah, no, most of the time I definitely watch the O line 100%, and then I watch the skills and stuff like that. But O line first, O line quarterback first, and then the skills and everybody else come. So
Yeah, I love that. And now, at St. Francis Academy, you're entering your final season. A lot of expectations. What are some personal goals as well as team goals that you're really looking to achieve during your last year there?
yeah, so personal goals, I want to continue to have 0 sacks. Last year I did that, and that's kind of put me on the map. So I
Mhm.
continue want to keep that going with the 0 sacks. Um, and just I feel like I want to more so put my name more popular and then like nation. I also put my O line on. So, you know, 0 sacks, get the rest of my O linemen known and my younger guys that's coming up after known. And then, team goes, I want to win a natty. I want to go undefeated and get the national championship. It's something like we've been trying to do for a long time. And we got the pieces this year to do it. So I think, it's our year to do it. So, just 0 sacks, getting the offensive line notice and win national championship for sure. Being IMG again, being
Mhm.
Bosco, Chaminade,
Yep.
putting Maryland back on the nation and getting St. Francis the first national championship in Maryland history. So,
Mhm.
yup.
Yeah, 100%. Now, I do have one final question to ask before we wrap things up. What's one random fun fact about yourself, just so the people watching can get to know you a little better at a personal level?
Yeah, I'm pretty funny to be honest. Pretty funny. I can play other things besides like football. You know, um, good person. So those three things for sure. You know, yup.
Yeah, I love that. With that being said, I can't thank you enough for coming on. Is there anything else you want to say to the people watching before we wrap things up?
Go Vols, GBO. That's it. GBO.
Absolutely. Love to hear it. Again, big thanks to Edward Baker for joining us on the DMV Football Gauntlet. As always, we will see you next time.